Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something that may sting. How many times have you walked into a room, or a bar, or even just down the street, and wondered if anyone noticed you? Noticed you beyond your clothes, beyond your car, beyond the mask you wear. The brutal truth is this: women are scanning you the moment you appear, and before you ever open your mouth, she already knows if you exist in her world or if you're invisible. That's right. Without saying a word, you're either unforgettable or forgettable. And I'm here to reveal why. There are subtle signs, almost invisible cues, that make you the man women notice instantly. They don't admit it out loud. They may never even tell their closest friends, but I promise you, their eyes catch certain men like magnets. And here's the dangerous part. Most men waste their lives thinking it's about height, money, or looks. It's not. It's about signals. Signals you've been giving without even knowing. The first seconds matter more than anything. A woman's instinct is wired to evaluate you instantly because her subconscious is built for survival, attraction, and opportunity. When you step into her view, she doesn't care about your words. She reads your posture, your energy, your aura. And let me be brutally honest with you. If you walk in timid, hunched, hesitant, you've already lost. You've already told her you're not worth her curiosity. But if you carry yourself with a presence, without arrogance, without desperation, she feels it before she thinks it. And that is where everything begins. Women notice a man who owns his space. A man who doesn't shrink in the room but doesn't need to dominate it either. That balance is rare. That balance is magnetic. And you may not realize this, but the men who women turn their heads for, the ones who don't even have to try, are not always the richest or the most handsome. They are the ones who figured out that women are not drawn to words first. They are drawn to presence, to energy, to the way a man moves when the world isn't watching. Now I'm going to show you the signs, the exact signals that tell her instantly, you're that man, the one she notices, the one she remembers, the one she can't ignore. The very first sign she notices, without you uttering a word, is how you enter a space. You may not believe this, but the way you walk into a room reveals everything about you. Women notice immediately if you carry hesitation in your steps, or if your pace screams confidence without trying too hard. Most men shuffle in, unsure of themselves, heads down, eyes darting, already shrinking before they even take their first seat. And in that moment, you vanish from her radar, because a man who hides from the room is a man who hides from life. But when you walk in with deliberate steps, shoulders relaxed, chin steady, not stiff, not forced, you radiate a kind of unspoken command. It's not about pretending to be tough or puffing your chest out like a cartoon alpha. That looks fake, desperate. What she notices is the man who moves like he belongs anywhere he goes. A man who doesn't seek permission, but doesn't demand attention either. That equilibrium is rare, and her eyes snap to it without her realizing why. Here's the truth most men never hear. Attraction begins in silence. Your aura, your energy, your presence, it all speaks louder than words. Women pick up on these signals in seconds. And the harsh reality, if you don't project quiet assurance, if you look like you're waiting for someone to validate you, she's already dismissed you. Not because she's cruel, but because instinctively, she's looking for a man who can anchor her emotions, not one who needs her to rescue his. Imagine this. You step into a cafe. Two men arrive at the same time. One rushes in, fumbles with his phone, scans the room nervously, almost apologizing for existing. The other walks in calmly, takes in the space, moves like he has nowhere to prove, but everywhere to be. Guess which one her eyes land on? Not the one with the latest sneakers or the biggest watch, but the one whose very silence speaks louder than 1,000 words. Understand this. Women notice a man who carries himself like a storm contained in calm waters. That's why your entrance is never just about walking. It's about announcing without speaking that you belong, that you're unshaken, that you're present. And if you master this, you've already separated yourself from 90% of men. The second sign women notice first is your eyes, not the color, not whether they're blue, green, or brown. It's the way you use them or avoid using them. You see, your eyes are the fastest truth tellers you'll ever own. They reveal your confidence, your focus, and your hidden fears long before you've had a chance to say hello. And women are masters at reading them. A single glance from you can either pull her curiosity in or push it away forever. When a man avoids eye contact, constantly looking around the room, staring at the floor, or nervously checking his phone, she feels it instantly. This is a man unsure of himself. A man who cannot hold her gaze, cannot hold her world. And deep inside, whether she admits it or not, she loses interest before you even had a chance. But when you hold eye contact with a calm, grounded energy, everything changes. It doesn't mean you glare at her like you're trying to dominate. That's insecurity dressed up as strength. It means when your eyes meet hers, you stay steady, relaxed, unhurried. You don't flinch, you don't dart away in panic, you don't overcompensate with intensity. You simply remain present. That presence unsettles her in the best way. It makes her wonder, who is this man? Why do I feel his silence more than another man's words? And here's something most men don't realize. Women are watching, even when you don't think they are. They notice the way your eyes move when you're ordering a drink, when you're listening to someone else speak, when you're walking past without saying a word. Your eyes tell her if you're distracted by everything around you, or if you're a man who sees clearly and chooses deliberately. A man who sees through, not just at. When your eyes reveal certainty, when they show you're not desperate for her validation, she feels both drawn and challenged. She wonders if she has to earn your attention instead of you scrambling to earn hers. And that single reversal changes everything. Because the men women notice first are the ones who can hold the world in their gaze without needing to prove anything at all. So never underestimate the power of your eyes. They're not just windows to your soul, they're invitations, signals, and tests all at once. Pass that test, and you become unforgettable. The third sign women notice first, even when you haven't spoken, is your posture. Most men underestimate this so badly, yet posture speaks louder than any pickup line, louder than any story you could tell. Think about it. Your body is announcing who you are before your lips ever move. And women? They're trained by instinct to read it in seconds. When you stand with your shoulders caved in, your spine slouched, your head tilted down, you don't just look small, you broadcast submission, you broadcast self-doubt, and she feels it instantly. Without analyzing it, her subconscious whispers, this man is not in control of himself, this man is not in control of life. And just like that, she doesn't even give you a second thought. But when your posture is strong yet relaxed, when your shoulders are open, your chest slightly lifted, your stance firm, but not exaggerated, the entire dynamic flips. You don't look like you're trying too hard. You don't look like you're chasing anyone's approval. You look like a man who commands himself first, and that's the energy she can't ignore. Here's the harsh truth. Women don't remember the words of every man they meet, but they remember how those men carried themselves. She remembers the guy who looked like he was hiding from life, just as clearly as she remembers the one who seemed anchored in his own skin. And between those two, only one leaves an impression worth returning to. Picture it. Two men are standing at the bar. One is hunched over, fiddling with his drink, eyes darting, body turned inward like he's begging not to be noticed. The other is leaning casually, posture open, grounded, his frame speaking without noise. I am comfortable. I am here. I am not waiting for permission. Guess which one her eyes scan first? It's never about who has the flashiest watch or the sharpest haircut. It's about the man whose very posture announces that he doesn't shrink from the world. Posture is a silent declaration. It tells her you respect yourself, It tells her you are aware. It tells her that if she steps into your orbit, she won't be the one holding you up. You'll already be standing firm on your own. And that is the kind of silent message women never ignore. The fourth sign women notice first is your expression. Not your smile alone, not whether you look happy or serious, but the deeper signal your face is sending out. Because without a word, your expression tells her if you're a man weighed down by life or a man who carries himself with grounded strength. Most men walk around with what I call a please like me face. They wear forced smiles, awkward grins, or expressions that scream nervousness. Women see it instantly. She doesn't feel drawn in. She feels pity, or worse, she feels nothing at all. And once she feels nothing, you vanish from her attention. But here's what hits differently. The man with a composed, relaxed face, not fake confidence, not arrogance plastered across his jawline, just calm neutrality. His mouth doesn't twitch with nervous energy. His brows aren't furrowed like he's battling the world. He looks like he belongs where he is, like he isn't desperate for anyone's approval, but he also isn't hardened by bitterness. That balance, calm, collected, unshaken, draws her in before you speak a single word. Think about it. When you see a man with a calm, self-possessed expression, you wonder what's going on in his mind. He seems mysterious, steady, in control, and mystery is magnetic. But when you see a man wearing all his insecurities on his face, grimacing, fidgeting, forcing smiles, you know everything you need to know. He is not settled within himself. Women process this faster than they could ever explain, but they know. Here's something most men never realize. Your face is a mirror of your inner world. If your inner world is chaos, anxiety, and desperation, your face will betray you. If your inner world is calm, purpose-driven, and steady, your face will reveal that too. And women always notice. Now imagine two men sitting at the same table. One looks restless, uncomfortable, eyes scanning for approval, his smile twitching every few seconds. The other sits back, relaxed, face composed, expression neutral but alive. Guess which one her eyes return to again and again? Not the one begging silently to be chosen, but the one who looks like he already chose himself. Because your expression isn't just about looks, it's about presence. And presence, more than anything, is what women notice before a single word is spoken. The fifth sign women notice first is how you occupy space. This is one of those truths that almost no man is ever told, yet it's something women feel instantly. You don't need to be the tallest guy in the room or have the biggest frame to command attention. It's not about size, it's about energy. It's about how you exist in the space you're given. Most men shrink. They fold their arms too tightly, keep their hands buried in pockets, angle their bodies inward as if trying to disappear. They make themselves smaller, almost apologizing for being seen. And in that shrinking, they erase themselves from her radar. Because a man who doesn't take up space in his world doesn't feel like a man who can take up space in hers. But the men women notice, they expand without even trying. They sit with their posture open, not sloppy, but grounded. They gesture with calm control, not frantic motion. They stand as though the air belongs to them, as though they have no fear of existing fully. That kind of presence makes a woman look twice. She can't help it. It triggers something primal. Here's the subtlety. It's not about arrogance or domination. If you sprawl out exaggeratedly, flail your arms, or invade others, you look insecure, like a boy pretending. But when you own your personal space with quiet certainty, when you stand or sit like you are at home in your body and in your world, you create gravity, and gravity always pulls eyes toward it. Picture this: two men waiting in line. One huddled in on himself, staring at his phone, body closed, almost vanishing into the corner. The other stands calmly, shoulders back, arms relaxed, gaze steady. He isn't performing. He isn't loud, but his presence is undeniable. Guess which one she notices before either of them speaks? Always the man who holds space like it's his right to. This is why women say things like, "I don't know what it is about him, but he just has something." That something is space ownership. Without words, you broadcast confidence, self-respect, and authority. And women don't just see it, they feel it. A man who takes up his space with quiet confidence is always the man she notices first. The sixth sign women notice before you ever speak is your style, but not in the shallow way most men assume. Women don't just scan for designer logos or expensive labels. What they actually read is how your clothes reflect your self-respect. Because your style is not just fabric, it's silent evidence of how much you value yourself. Most men get this wrong. They either don't care at all, throwing on whatever is closest, wrinkled and careless, or they swing the other way, overdressing, flashing loud patterns and accessories, screaming for attention. Both extremes send the same signal: insecurity. Either you don't believe you're worth being noticed, or you're desperate to be noticed at any cost. And women catch it instantly. But here's what stands out: a man who dresses with intention, not desperation. His clothes are clean, fitted to his frame, chosen with quiet thought. Nothing is screaming, nothing is sloppy. He's not trying to look like someone else. He looks like the best version of himself. And that's the point. Because when a man respects his appearance, it shows he respects his life. Think of it this way: your style is your first handshake before words. If your outfit whispers chaos, laziness, or neediness, she feels it. But if your appearance reflects discipline, awareness, and confidence, she feels that too. And remember, she notices everything. The small details you think don't matter. The way your shoes are kept, the way your shirt fits, the way your watch, even if it isn't expensive, sits with quiet class. Now imagine two men at the same event. One looks like he rolled out of bed, shirt untucked, shoes scuffed, hair unkempt. The other wears a simple, well-fitted shirt, clean shoes, subtle but intentional choices. Neither has spoken, yet one looks invisible, while the other radiates respect without opening his mouth. Which one do you think she gravitates toward? Here's the hidden truth. Women don't want perfection. They want authenticity polished with care. They want a man who clearly values himself enough to present himself well. Not for her, not for others, but for himself. That signal is magnetic. It whispers strength, discipline, and pride. And that whisper is louder than 1,000 words. Your style is not decoration. It is silent proof of your self-worth. And women always notice. The seventh and final sign women notice before you say a word is your energy. Call it vibe, call it aura, call it presence. Whatever the label, it's the invisible force that surrounds you, and it's the most powerful of all. Because a woman can feel your energy before she even hears your voice, and it tells her instantly, is this man worth noticing or not? Energy is not about being loud, not about bouncing off walls, not about fake positivity. In fact, the men who try to project good vibes all the time often come across as needy performers. Women feel that, and they lose interest. What pulls her in is the energy of calm certainty. The man who doesn't need to prove himself. The man whose silence feels heavier than another man's bragging. That's the energy women scan for first. Think about it. You've been in a room where someone walked in, and without saying a word, everyone turned to notice. Why? It wasn't his height, his money, or his clothes alone. It was the weight of his energy. A man who is grounded, steady, unshaken by noise, radiates something primal. And women notice that instantly. But here's the painful truth most men never face. Your energy betrays you. If you carry bitterness, desperation, resentment, or fear, she feels it before you open your mouth. If you walk into a room with calm purpose, clarity, and strength, she feels that too. You cannot fake energy. It is either cultivated through discipline, self-respect, and growth, or it is exposed as the chaos you've avoided facing. Now picture this. Two men sit at the same table. One is restless, jittering, anxious, filling the air with nervous chatter. The other sits in silence, steady, at ease with himself, his presence alone louder than words. She notices the second man before he even turns his head. Why? Because energy speaks louder than sound. And here's where I leave you with this. Women don't just notice what you wear, how you stand, or where your eyes go. They notice the man beneath it all, the energy he radiates. That's what makes you unforgettable. So let me ask you this, and I want you to answer in the comments. Which of these 7 signs do you think you already project, and which one do you need to work on the most? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a brother who needs to hear the truth today.